Hi, well, it's a very cold morning this morning, but I'm going to the right sort of venue. I'm going to see some steam threshing.
Well, this is an amazing scene. I'm on top of the threshing machine at the moment, and there's a steam engine to one side and a baler to the other side, and a trailer being loaded up with bales. And it's like a scene from times gone by. You've got this beautiful traction engine, which is 99 years old. You've got this splendid threshing machine. And perhaps just say a little bit about the threshing machine and what it does. But you basically feed your harvest into the top, and then it separates out the wheat from the straw and the chaff. And it has a whole system of sort of spinning griddles and dust blowing and other separators. So really it's a highly sophisticated bit of mechanical equipment with lots of belts, etc. inside it. That's the chaff, and you'll find out the top of the machine you get what's called the long straw, which is the rather nice stuff. Out the bottom you get the short straw, which can be used for animal feed along with the chaff. And out the back of the machine you get the grain, and this particular one even sorts it into smaller grain items and larger grain items. And there are a lot of belts wherever you look. You can imagine there were some rather terrible accidents using these machines, and I was very careful walking around. But I mean, just to say, the Suffolk Free Press from June the 17th 1908, it reported a poor Harry Coote, who was 26 years old, and he slipped on the revolving drum, and he was immediately drawn into the machine and by his left leg, and his lower body was torn away and smashed to pulp, and as they say, he died without speaking. It's a rather grim story there, but it's a beautiful bit of equipment, and it's lovely to see this sort of machinery still being kept going. This particular machine was made by Marshalls. You can imagine when these sorts of machines first came out, I mean earlier versions of this came out around about 1820, 1830, and the early machines obviously made a lot of people redundant on the farms, and they had people with riots breaking up machines. In 1830 there were quite a few riots, and threshing machines were broken up, and in fact in Kent, where I live, over 100 machines were broken up in a 3-month period. But you can sort of see why, because of course a lot of these operations would have been done entirely by hand in olden times. And then along comes machinery, and of course it gets developed more and more, like this one, which is obviously quite an advanced machine. And then on the sort of 1920s, 1930s onwards, you start to see combine harvesters that do both the cutting and the threshing. There's lovely sounds seeing the machine, it's lovely seeing everyone work, and you can imagine the sense of community. The threshing machine was being driven by this rather splendid stationary engine, and this one was 99 years old, so have its 100th birthday next year. The belt is put on twisted because it stops it actually falling off. A straight belt would be more inclined to fall off. And this one actually started its life on the Isle of Man, the sawmill, and then got moved around to about 2 other locations before it found its home here. And it's a lovely bit of machinery, beautifully made. You can see the governor on top there, being driven by a belt, spinning around, regulating the speed of the machine. And it's very interesting actually just looking at the different parts of it. The little whistle, I love that turned wooden knob there. And this one was 10 horsepower, 10 steam horsepower, so quite a powerful machine, and it ticked over like clockwork. That's the little oiler up there, so make sure that all the bearings get nicely oiled. And this was the pump, so you could actually pump water into the boiler and also sort of get rid of water as well, and you could adjust the sort of taps on there to make the water come in or out. And it was just, well, interesting seeing it all really, seeing how it worked. Lovely engineering, still working terribly well. This was a Ransom's engine, and they were, in common use for a whole host of things, anything from cutting up wood to driving threshing machines. This one started its life, say, in the wartime, so it was probably used for cutting wood for trenches, for trench supports, etc. And they were feeding the boiler regularly with more branches. And it was lovely. It was a cold day, and the heat coming off of that boiler was really nice. A lot of danger, obviously, all these belts everywhere, people being very careful and making sure they're keeping those clear. hope you enjoyed seeing this machinery close up. It was a real privilege actually to be allowed to come along and see this in action. Quite a rare sight, and to be able to get close up as well was really good. And I say, I take my hat off to people who actually keep these machines going, because it is part of our heritage, and it's really nice to think that, you know, there are enthusiasts who have the skills and the knowledge to keep them going there.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that film, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye from me, and bye-bye from Tom.